Hey, I'm Isa from Forage SF, and today I'm gonna tell you about cooking up some black trumpet mushrooms, which are pretty delicious. These are one of our really nice local winter mushrooms that are gonna be coming out really soon. We haven't found these yet on our walks up in Sonoma, but they should be out in the next couple of weeks, so I'm really excited about that. I'm actually going up this weekend with a couple friends, and maybe we'll check those out. So the thing about these trumpets is because of their shape, they catch a lot of dirt and pine needles and all the things in the forest, so it's really important to clean them really well. So what I like to do with these is wash them in water, and it's actually a myth that messes with the flavor. You just have to dry saute them after you do it, which I'll show you how to do too. So first you just get a bowl of water. Nice cold city water. Throw these guys in there, like so. So what you need to do is actually tear them apart like that. So a lot of the dirt likes to sit at the bottom. So I like to just go through, tear them apart. If there's like a root on the bottom of them, you want to pull that off too. Just kind of rip that off. That's just trash. Let's go through, kind of rub them between your fingers to get all the little pine duff out of them. These also are so hard to find because you can just think about like you're in a dark forest, like looking at ground that's like black and dark brown, and you just see like a dark spot. That's all you really see when you're looking for these. So you really need to get your mushroom eyes on, as they say. So what I found with mushroom foraging is like when you see one, suddenly like something happens in your brain, and you just see them everywhere. People call that getting your mushroom eyes on. It's a little fun fact. So once you kind of got them all pulled apart, what you want to do, you never want to pour out mushrooms when you're washing them like this because you'll take all the dirt with you. But you just lift them out like so. And you can see here there's like tons of dirt in there still and pine needles. So that means you need to do it again. Just get like a lot of water. We don't have too many of these here. I actually cleaned some of the really like nice big looking ones before, so those are gonna go in the dish, but all you get to see are these little ones. They're still good. So you just kind of keep doing that. So mix them around. Second time's a little quicker. Lift them out. Okay, cool. So we're gonna give these a last wash. Just be very careful. You're gonna need pine needles in there. Although, you know, I feel like eating a little bit of dirt is like not the worst thing in the world. I kind of feel like it helps my microbiome. If you're in like a really healthy forest, that's like showing how much of a hippie I am. But I guess I do own a company that focuses on forage mushrooms, so I guess that's not too much of a surprise. So, there you go. So like, it's pretty good. There's a couple pine needles in there, but it's not too much. That's kind of how you know you're there. Again, you might get one or two, so you got a little leaf in here, but it's not the end of the world. So what I'm actually gonna do today is cook these up with some potatoes. And so what I'm just gonna do is cut these patates to teeny little squares. The size is not as important as the fact that they are all the same size, consistent size. But I like these little guys, so it's fun to cut them. There we go. Let's drop them in some water. They'll get all browned. And now I'm gonna show you how to dry saute these mushrooms before we cook them up. Cool. So through the magic of television, now we have a much bigger bowl of black trumpets, which is fun. So basically first what we're gonna do is dry saute. And that's really just, what that's for is just getting rid of all this liquid. Because if you cook it, like if you put in your butter, your oil now, with all this liquid, it's just gonna steam in a really gross way. So you put all your mushrooms into a cold pan. So this is kind of a lot to go in that pan. A kind of liberal amount of salt on there. And you just turn it on to medium and let it go. As in like 30 seconds or a minute, you'll start to see a lot of liquid coming out of there. You just want to let all that liquid absorb out, and we'll just kind of like let that go now. You also just want to stir it around a little bit. Okay, cool. So you can see now most of the water is evaporated. So that took like 5 or 6 minutes. So it takes a little bit of time. But something that's really important when you're dry sauteing is don't walk away. So when it's at this point right now, if you leave it in even like 30 seconds too long, it's gonna ruin all your mushrooms and you're gonna be super disappointed. So definitely don't do that. As it starts to get to this point, turn down the heat a little bit, slow it down a bit. And what you're waiting for here is the squeak. So as all the water starts to go away, you'll start to hear a little bit of squeak. Not quite there yet. Okay, cool. So all that water's evaporated now. So we're just gonna put these aside and then we're gonna cook our potatoes. So now we're gonna cook our potatoes that we cut into beautiful little squares. Medium heat, butter, saute them for a while, not too hot. You're really gonna wanna cook these through, brown them. Whoa. So these have been cooking for probably about 10-ish minutes. It's just super slow because you don't want to burn them. You want them to cook through because there's nothing worse than breakfast potatoes that aren't quite cooked. So then we're gonna throw a little bit more butter in there before we do that. Nice knob of butter. You don't want to totally cook the potatoes before you put the mushrooms in because, you know, they need to cook themselves. I'm gonna par cook the potatoes. Throw these mushies in. Mix them all up. The really cool thing about black trumpets is their texture is like, they kind of have this nice crunchy texture. They hold up in a dish like this. You just want to cook those for like 5 or 6 minutes. So we're also gonna cook a few eggs. This is like a little mushroom breakfast potato extravaganza. So these have been cooking for like 5 or 6 minutes. So the potatoes starting to brown. And then we got the black trumpets all nice and cooked up. Let's put these bad boys aside. A little bit more boro. Oh, almost got it pretty. Pull this on there. There you have it. Little black trumpet, mushroom, potato breakfast. Enjoy.